and welcome to another episode of the Inforunners. This is Haze, and up above me we have...
I'm Execute, and off to my right.
Dasein!
And here we have another episode, and today we're covering the new concept, pre-sale, concierge only, exclusive, the Hercules pre-sale. And unusual for a pre-sale, they've actually given us some information in the reverse the verse. Not much information, but we've got a decent amount of images. We've got some cargo stats, which is probably what everyone really wanted to differentiate the models with. So we're going to start this episode. We're going to talk about the Hercules, the ship, what we think it means, what we like about the ship, what we think it is. And then we're going to go into the second part of it. We're actually going to talk about the sail. I'm differentiating the two here because what we're going to talk about the ship and we're going to talk about the sail is like two completely different slants. I can imagine. So if anyone's going to talk about the sail before we finish talking about the ship, I'm going to make you sing at the end. Okay? So don't, not even a word.
I'm a little
and then if you're lucky,
short and stout.
and if we've got time, the third part will be LTI. If you don't even try to mention LTI until right at the end, okay? Because if you do, you're certainly going to be singing. Okay?
What in the world are they doing to LTI? All right.
From now. Anyway, starting off, we're going to be talking about the Hercules and its three variants, which is the C2, the M2, and the A2. Who wants to start?
Overpriced for what you get. It's an amazing concept of something we need, but it's just for what you get. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say right there.
I don't know. You know, like the C2 is actually very well priced. Well, the A2 is like double that price. So, you know, the C2 by itself is a very interesting ship. Only $300 for war bonds, US. That is an interesting price point.
I think the middle variant, the military variant, to me is probably the most versatile of the ones. You don't lose that much cargo. You get a lot more armor, which, again, the ship seems to be going into kind of combat zones. It seems to make sense to me. That's the one you'd want to take. But yeah, as Dasein said, the price points for me is just it's kind of crazy.
Well,
it is a 100-meter ship, and it's a very wide ship at that.
well, think about the A2, the one with all the bombs, with the fact that it can take a tank. It can do all that cool stuff, but you're running into Polaris territory. You're running into Hammerhead territory. Hammerhead is a better gunship. It can't drop bombs. You'll point that out, and it can't really drop aircraft fine. So let's take that out of the way. But now you turn around and you talk about the
It has the guns, but it's a defensive craft, and it's meant to be. I mean, at the end of the day, this thing it can drop a tank. It has some serious arsenal for bombing. It's a utility ship. Like everyone complained with the Hammerhead. It can't do anything but be a gunship. I don't have any cargo. I can't, take people with me. Well, this ship can.
This ship can only be a gunship in one direction, which is downward facing. I'm seeing some real tactical pilots trying to face the ass of the ship to face people either in space. Like it just, yeah. Well, I just don't understand the appeal of this ship. Like, and the only thing that I can see that really kind of would make this ship strong is that they've confirmed that ground combat is going to be a big thing. And I think they've kind of said that with the bombing version because there has been no other gravity-based bomb ship yet.
But the bombs bring in one big issue, and this is an issue that I have with the whole bombing thing. These have to be big bombs because you don't get a lot. They say MOABs. But is this just an end all ground combat? Like if I drop a MOAB down, oh well, battle over, people. We just destroyed that. And something Execute mentioned, which is something that is kind of terrifying to think about. Oh, someone just built the base with a Pioneer. And, oh, well, I just drop a MOAB on it. Sorry about your base. You don't have it anymore. And one way that's unbalanced. The other way is like, dude, those bombs are probably going to cost as much as a small fighter.
This completes the life cycle for like building homesteads because, homestead gets birthed, homestead dies, and then homestead gets recollected and recycled, and then the new one is born, right? We're just making homesteads and they never disappear. And at the end of the day, this solves all those problems.
You're built, you live in it, and then you're bombed. Yeah.
Yes.
But again, ground combat being a thing, this definitely signals that, and I think that is the biggest thing that this ship tells us. But other than that, I
think we're missing an element here. You guys are focusing on this is a military ship, this is a combat ship. This is a cargo hauler, one that has decent armor. It has actual VTOL. I mean, how hard is it to land a Starfire?
Banu merchantman.
I understand that, but that Banu is a huge capital class ship. This is a 100-meter ship. Like the Starfarer, people have said you could do exploration of Starfarer. It can take a vehicle. Well, this is like even better than that.
I think
Dasein
Dasein has a real point, because I'm the one who brought the Banu merchant up to him. If you're transferring 10 Nova tanks, I'd much rather do it in a Banu. The difference, though, is if you're doing it in a combat situation, that's this ship. I think this is the combat transporter, as opposed to the transport ship. To technically clarify there, that's what I think the difference is.
But what you're talking about for cargo and versatility doesn't make sense when you have a Banu for the same cost.
How many people do you need to run a huge Banu merchantman to make it like
Dude,
worthwhile?
You need 8 for the bomber version of this. You need 8 for the Banu. I don't see any difference. And the Banu's a shitload cheaper.
2 people for the cargo version. That's what I'm saying. You're missing something here. You get like a C2, and you can literally land that on a planet and do general cargo. You can do general exploration. This thing has enormous amounts of potential for both of this. Like, what if...
It doesn't have
a drive-out ramp.
It doesn't
can't fit large vehicles.
But it doesn't have a long, sustainable.
And the Caterpillar doesn't have VTOL.
They've said it has a very Spartan interior. There is no living features. This is a short-range cargo ship. I'm literally like this is the envision in my head.
They said in reverse. It's a long-range cargo ship.
But there's no living stuff on it. There's no beds. Yeah. There's no.
They said its range is long, though.
Well, just because your range is long doesn't mean that you're not going to have the ability to actually sleep on it. And that really brings in a vulnerability of this, because here's the deal. This is where your Starfarer will excel. If you want to use something as a cargo vessel, go with that. If you want something to be able to go into ground, maybe drop off vehicles for a fun daily driver, for an org, or so you take some buddies, go out, drop some vehicles, have a few spares.
Yes.
This is for you. But if you're wanting cargo running, get a Starfarer. If you want cargo running, get a Banu. If you're wanting combat, get a Hammerhead or Polaris.
Is not a daily driver. This ship potentially is. Look at the C2. You could do a lot of the missions and a lot of the things you want to do in this ship with excellent cargo capacity and excellent ability to bring every single vehicle under the sun with you. This is an interesting ship.
If I had hair right now, it would have already fallen out from that comment, but all right.
Yeah.
That hurts my head.
I agree.
I disagree completely. I can see where you're coming from.
Let's go deliver the cargo on a simple one-person mission and take this as your single daily driver, and then you draw out the tank to deliver the cargo. It's like how many people don't want to do that? Or like you take your choice. You have your Cyclone. You have several Cyclones on board, or several other vehicles. It's like, which one am I going to take out today? This is a really interesting ship for a one-person daily driver.
If you only want one ship, yeah, I could see your point, right?
Yeah.
But when you factor in cost, no.
Because think about the fuel cost.
The C2 is cheap.
Fuel costs, cheap. Operating costs.
Just let me finish. As soon as you factor in cost, you could get 2 ships that do this. Like, let's speak just spitballing. You could get like a Retaliator, and you can
new
get
ship cost, new ship tax. I understand that. We're not going to debate that the new ships are more expensive.
Just let me finish. You could get something like a Retaliator and AKA a Caterpillar, and they would both do the single rolls better. Yes, this job.
Well, this has more cargo than a Caterpillar, you know.
No, it does not.
The C2 has 600 SCU in cargo.
Okay, well, that one does, but the
does.
bomber variant does not. But
no, of course, but it doesn't have to. The thing is, what you're trying to say, an 8-person craft as a daily driver, as a bomber, no, that's not going to work. A C2 is a 2-man craft, and it has more cargo than a Caterpillar, and you could probably use that more efficiently as a cargo hauler than a Caterpillar.
Caterpillar's 8-man.
No, I'm saying that the A2, which is the bomber version of the Hercules,
it's only 8-man if you want to have the bomber and all the guns
and the turrets. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, that is not a single-person cruise ship.
No, and just looking at the C2 though, just get a Starfarer. I hate to say, if I'm wanting to do cargo, a Starfarer is way better deal, because you can not only haul and harvest fuel, but supposedly there's going to be modules for putting on cargo out instead of the fuel. So right there, you've now just tripled that. You have a living quarters, so you can actually go to bed.
This isn't about maximum cargo. At the end of the day, this thing is going to be faster. It's going to be better armored. It's going to have a good VTOL system. It's going to be against more expensive cargo. It's going to be lesser risk taking out more valuable cargo than a Starfarer.
As soon as you say armor, I just say Gemini. So no, I'm kind of with Dasein. I think there are. I think if you want one ship, if you could only have one, but you want to do both those roles, I agree with you. But as soon as you don't want to do combat as much or don't want to do cargo as much, there are better options. And I think due to the price of the ship, because of the new ship tax or wherever they're doing it, hell no. As someone that's already got a lot of ships, I just went straight over this and went, nah.
And it's great for a military org, but even then, how many will you need in a military org, to be fair? Because you may only need one or two, and that's...
Yeah, like, quite honestly, I see, like, your org rocking up to some kind of, you know, pre-battle base, and these are just shuffling whatever you're going in and out, but it's something else big, like a Holly or something, that is actually bringing in the tanks or the ground vehicles or a banner or something like that.
I love this ship. I'm gonna buy one. I'm straight up gonna buy one of these, and I'll tell you why. I can see this as being an excellent daily driver with more guns and bombs that I possibly will ever need, and just having the option to go on a mission and have this sort of a door knocker effect. It just.
So you're buying.
Sorry, I wet
you're
myself
buying
there.
the bomber one.
I think I will. Just the bomber, and I don't want it because of cargo.
You're right. Is it because it comes
I want to do
black?
cargo. I'll take my Starfarer. I'll take my Merchantman. I'll take my damn Hull E. But when I want to go out and have some fun, oh god, this ship blows most of the competition out of the water.
I can personally see him just following our good round, blowing up all these pioneer bases, but that's just.
This is the ship. This is the ship for that. This is like, you want to troll someone and you want to bring 3 mates to help you do it. This is the ship, okay? Because you drop 2 tanks outside the borders and then start bombing them, while the 2 tanks take them from the ground, and they're fucked.
Look, taking price out of it, honestly, I do see a place for this ship, and I think it's kind of a good ship. Yes. But when look, we have to factor everything in these days, and I think when you put price in, it really does. I have, like, I've said it. This is like the 4th time I've said this now. I've just seen COG getting greedier and greedier, and I was.
You're talking about.
We're already in the price section.
We're already in the price section.
I'm so not done yet, because look at the Prowler. Everyone who bought a Prowler, and they look at this ship and they go, "Do I want stealth or do I want fucking badass?" You know, it's like, I think I want the badass.
Well, the problem is it's different roles. And...
Yeah. Is it really?
Well,
yes, it is.
Only stealth. Or like kick-ass.
The Prowler takes over enemy vessels. It's built to be space infiltration going into your enemy ships, while this is more of a ground-based thing. They're apples and oranges, completely.
Prowler's
they're very similar though. Prowler is a ground-based, hover-based mechanic, low helicopter. This is a huge version of that, with the VTOL system.
Prowler would be the special forces. This would be the general army. That's how I would put. You know, when you
this is
infiltration.
We bring the platoon with you. This is no infiltration here. This is like, we bring the whole platoon to you, along with supported armor. This is, and bombers, and like, this is a ridiculous package.
Yeah. I think honestly you've kind of nailed it on the head there. This is priced because they know it will be popular. That's fundamentally the whole.
This will sell
kind of thing.
There's tons of people lining up there with hammerheads and then saying, "This is more the ship that I wanted."
Well, you can obviously see that we have some kind of thing with it, me and Dasein. So, honest question to you then, and I know it's a price question, but are you concerned that it's double the price just to become a bomber? I find that really strange. Like, would you honestly rather 2 of these ships or 1 bomber?
I'm happy that they made a cheaper C2 version so people can get what they want, because most of the gameplay you get from the C2, the only additional gameplay that you get from the bomber is very limited gameplay, something you won't use very often. It will sort of be just something you have and you feel good about a lot of the time. So I'm happy they give that cheaper option.
There's one thing about the C2 which I will have to praise, because this is a ship I will want to get in game. It's going to be one of the first ships that I have queued up to get in game. The price and everything is the thing to get rid of it. But the A2 has the bombing, but your C2 has one thing: the ability to store a small ship. You might be going, I've stuck M50s in a Starfarer.
This is an Aora, they said.
Yeah, And what other ship of that size could you possibly fit in there? Could you fit a Buccaneer maybe if you really try?
I think something long and skinny. Do you think the Prospector would fit?
Honestly, why the hell would you be transporting Auroras? I just want to check that out there. Like, why?
Well, other ships other than Aoras, though, that, are Aora-sized. I mean, do you think you could fit a Hawk in there? If you were a bounty hunter and you literally landed this on the planet and then took your Hawk out for the actual bounty kill, that is pretty badass.
If you could fit a Hawk and maybe a bike or two.
I don't know why you'd want
or a Mustang.
I don't know why you'd want to do that with the Hawk. The Hawk would be a lot harder to spot coming into atmosphere than a giant freaking cargo ship.
People are not going to spot you. This is a whole planet. You land on one side of the planet, then you take your Hawk out to where you actually know where the target is. I mean, bounty hunters, this is their mothership.
Maybe.
That is interesting. That has all their gear and their vehicles. They can take out the tool they want for the specific job. This is a really interesting ship as a hub for a bounty hunter. And then if it could fit the Hawk, or let's say a Mustang type vehicle to go out and measure the distance, or a Cyclone, or your speeder bike, or let's say you really needed a door knock type surprise visit, you take the tank.
What's to not stop you just coming in another stealthy ship, landing on a landing zone and spawning the Hawk?
I'm saying
having the Hawk already on the planet.
You have your base of operations and you have all the gear you ever wanted.
In defense of this idea, think about it like your portable base. You just bring whatever you want, and you don't have to be limited to a spawning site. So let's say,
not to mention, it has huge amounts of fuel, so its ranges. That Toma, you go system to system with this, and your Hawk would have to refuel along the way.
And your Hawk is your bed.
Let me put it to you this way, Dasein, in a way that you'll simply understand very quickly. In one simple word, Polaris.
Okay.
No, the thing is,
no, you were defeated because you could land your Hawk in the landing bay, and it's a better ship. It's got better defense. It costs the same amount.
It requires tons of people. A bounty hunter's not going to be able to afford to pay his bounty off that many civilians trying to run a ship.
It's got no good weapons on it. You're in a cargo ship, for crying out loud. It's just all its guns are downwards facing.
You're a bounty hunter. You're not using the ship to collect the bounty. You're using it as a staging area. This is your base of operations. It's not going to be fighting.
Yeah, and if they ever find your base, you're done for.
You're a bounty hunter. You're hunting people. You're not the other way around.
You don't think Pirate's going to go, I know that guy. He's a bounty hunter. Oh, I better not attack him. No, they're going to come straight at you and kill you so you can't kill them.
All right, let's just table this because this is going to go around.
I'm going to disagree. I disagree completely.
And we can totally disagree. That's totally fine. Well, let's put it this way. I'm happy to see how it plays out in the actual game. That'll be fine.
I think there's nothing funnier than someone to have a bounty and then they actually rock up in the A2 version and then they go, I'm not coming out of my house.
That's right. I'll just knock your house down.
Blow them away. That's right.
And
it's sort of like you have every option available to you with this ship. If you want to, no matter what.
No, I mean kill the ship, not the ship kill their ship. I think the biggest issue with this that is really an oversight, and people don't realize why this ship looks so cool on paper. Yeah, it's got lots of guns, but they all face in one direction. And if it's anything,
it has some rear turrets.
If it drives,
it has rear turrets.
If it drives anything like a slow, sloppy ship at all, right? If it has any turning issues, as in rolling issues, fighters are going to just fly circles around it and shoot it.
Well,
here's one for you. What if I bring my Vulcan along and just disassemble the whole thing as I fly around it? This just...
Now you're getting into singleism. At the end of the day, wouldn't you start working as a team if you're going to bring that much, if you're going into that big of a fight?
And that's why I think your bounty hunter idea doesn't have merit. If it was multiple bounty hunters and you had, it was being escorted by Hawks, I could possibly see that, so maybe 2 or 3 bounty hunters working as a team. I'll give you that. But as a solo vessel, I just don't see it. Because
space is a big place. You should be able to park your ship and no one can find it once you power it down.
If it's your A to B vehicle that you transfer between, yeah. But if they still find you out, I think you'll be in trouble. We're getting into a niche scenario here, but I digress.
I don't agree.
Execute brought an important topic up, though. If it does not maneuver well, this is where a lot of people's hopes for it being a proper drop craft is going to be an issue, because the way I saw this is it being a ship they could zoom in, unload vehicles quickly, and then get out fast, so you could actually do it in combat, unlike with any other option out there. And
that's where the thing is, though. The whole idea of the VTOL system is to be able to do atmospheric flight exceptionally well, smoothly.
Yes.
And even turning, I think it'll react more like a helicopter.
Proof's in
the idea of actually changing direction is not an issue.
I'm more concerned. I don't think it'll have issue changing direction. I think its issue might be rolling, because
and that's a space thing.
Should we move on to the price then? Because I can see we're going a little bit in circles here.
But we sort of touched on it. I don't understand the M differentiates itself enough, because trading off a third of the cargo from the C variant and then just getting a little bit better guns and armor, it's going to be one of those we'll have to wait and see sort of moments to see if the trade-off's worth it.
It falls into that same situation as the Gemini Starfarer. I still don't I still have my upgrade because I haven't seen which is better. I haven't seen there is not an argument there, and quite frankly, the model at the moment there is no difference in cargo. And the other thing they haven't differentiated in the Starfarer, is it the fuel cargo or is it the internal cargo?
Well, but I will say this is a ship that is equivalent to a Hammerhead. It just has very different functions. And so I think the price is about right, considering the new ship, prices and stuff.
I don't think it is, because again, I think the variant should be much closer, because you let's just say we go to the anniversary and they don't really jack up the price too much. And you still go 700 for this with credits, and then let's say you can get a Hammerhead for roughly the same costs. It's a no-brainer. Or if the Polaris is still on the same price at 750, just get a Polaris. It gives you way more versatility in the long run, and it's going to take you 10 times longer to earn in game. This ship, you could probably earn it maybe a few cargo runs with a larger ship like a Banu. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
I think when you put this ship up against other ships that have more versatility, I know if you look at Polaris, you've got to have more people. I know if you look at things like the Hammerhead, you need more people as well. But I think they're more versatile than the ship in everyday roles. This ship really screams to me combat transport, as in it's under fire transport. That's what I see this. That's its niche role. I wouldn't want, if I had to send a ship into a combat zone to get something to somewhere, that's the ship. I wouldn't send in a Banu. I probably wouldn't send in a Caterpillar. But if I'm just transferring grain from A to B, I wouldn't send this ship.
You see, this is where I disagree with both of you.
There's a
play. You keep seeing it only as combat. This is because of its
cost.
Because it can
and
take
its size.
Very large vehicles. I know what you're saying.
Whole
but at the end of the day, this is incredibly versatile craft in the sort of jobs and what it can do. And it is more versatile than other military craft that you only thinking about with military. Like, compare it to Hammerhead. This is not the military level of a Hammerhead. It never will be. It was never designed to be.
Role
it
to
has
role.
utility.
It's a gunship.
It's more than a gunship, and that's because of the huge amount of cargo and the type of cargo that it could take. And that makes it able to do things that are not military-based or a mix of military-based and other things that these other ships can't do. At the end of the day, this has way more cargo than a Polaris. The Polaris will never be able to do the same sort of missions that this can, because this is focused on utility.
But the Polaris is doing different things, though.
I know you're saying it's doing different things, but the thing is, you are only seeing the military side of it. And that's where I think you're wrong. That's where I think you're seeing missing the potential of what this ship is. I know what you're saying, but I disagree.
I understand where you're coming from, Haze, but look at it from our point of view. Again, if you split, due to the cost, if you split this into two ships, so you had your Caterpillar and you had a Retaliator.
You bring in
because it isn't a factor. If you have this ship, no. If you have this ship, and you could, no matter what the mission, if you had a Caterpillar and a Retaliator, I'd much rather, because of the cost, you could send a Caterpillar and Retaliator, and they'll do the job better than this ship. Due to if you're making cost.
I don't mix cost and what the ship is differently. You're saying the ship is not good as it is. It is good as it is. The cost for it is too much, yes.
But
is the ship for what it does?
That's what we're discussing.
That is a really interesting ship.
That's what we're discussing at this point. We've moved on to cost.
I think that because of the way the new ships are, it will always be this way. Every new ship, you're going to have the same argument. This is not an interesting argument. At the end of the day, if you want this ship, is it a good ship for what it is? I say undeniably it's a lot better than a lot of other choices.
Well, this is CIG's.
Other than cost.
It definitely...
This is CIG.
Sorry.
If you want the ship, you'll pay for it no matter what. It doesn't matter what it costs.
It's definitely got the multi-role ability.
Yes.
I'll definitely give you
Better
that.
than
Right?
many
If you look at the ship purely based on function, yes, it is great. When you factor in cost, it really brings down the I don't know what to call that.
It brings down what you're going to do because you look at because it's opportunity cost for the same funds. Do I get a head start in this profession, two professions, or do I get one ship that I can earn by doing missions with both of those other ships fairly quickly, and now have one great utility ship, and then when I want to specialize, I can do that.
And the two roles that it works in are two roles that are really common: cargo and combat. And quite frankly, we have lots of cargo and combat ships, and for the cost, you could get two ships, not one. And that's
or one that's much larger and much harder to get if you wanted to focus.
Well, if you had a Banu when they originally came out, 250. Even now, it's 350. That's only $20 more than the default.
You can get you can get your largest whole size ship, your whole E, with the same cost as that, and you can in one cargo run probably buy one.
I think you're missing the point here. You're trying to economize big ships to small ships. This will never work, as well as new ships to old ships. That is not
100 meters is not small ship. Big ship.
You're doing a one-sided track here. You've got blinders on you here. Is this ship worth buying if this is what you want? Is this a good ship for the money that you're buying?
And what I'm saying, and I'll just definitively say this, no, because you can get two ships for the same price. There, I don't have blinders on. I'm very quite open about it. What I'm trying to say is I think you can get two ships that do both singular jobs better. If you can only have one ship, though, yes, I understand where you're coming from. But
okay, let's move on. Let's just move on because we're circling. And say this sale had a couple things. It confirmed that they're not going to keep doing LTI on non-war bond, and two, it finally shows something that they should have been doing instead of removing LTI, which is incentivizing maybe with ships. Or like this, you get a Nova tank with the A2, and you get a Cyclone with your M, just your military cargo variant. They should be doing that instead of getting rid of LTI, personally. Just saying that.
I think it also shows that a lot of people are cycling their ships as new ships come in too. So that's why they're removing the LTI on that, because a lot of people are obviously going, oh, this is a better option now, so I'm going to just melt what I've got and move to this. And I think I kind of don't like that, because it basically means you have to they just want you to keep buying instead of forming your fleet the way you want to form it. But anyway.
Well, and it removes the choice. That's one of the things I liked when I started playing and looking at Star Citizen. I was originally several things. CIG didn't. Some of the ships were expensive, but it was reasonable crowdfunding, so you weren't getting these exorbitant prices. And they made it so you could choose. You could build your fleet as time goes on, because you don't know what you're pledging for a ship, and then you don't know what you're getting. And now they're slowly removing that and making my credits not worth anything if I want to actually go with that. And major markups otherwise. It was from small discounts to huge discounts.
Personally, I've seen this coming a long time, and this doesn't surprise me. And why it doesn't upset me is because I see that CIG as a business, this is something they need to do. This is something they need to encourage for new funds. And some people are going to certainly see it as a me, you don't value me anymore. So it's not about them. It's about CIG as a company. And, personally, that's my slant on it. I know most people are not going to agree with that, because frankly, other than thinking about myself and I feel cheated or something else, I'm trying to think more broadly.
It's called player-based goodwill.
I personally think, I'd kind of agree with Haze if it wasn't for one little thing, and it's just the previous step. We've got part 3 to be released as well of the Ship Gap series, but that's the last thing. Those, best ships are still to be released, and that's the only kind of area that kind of annoys me in a way. Like, they've deliberately held off releasing those ships because they know they're going to make the most amount of money on those ships, and that's what kind of annoys me.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them for good marketing in some ways, but I blame them for instead of taking a reasonable extra. Like I wouldn't have been upset if they had a reasonable increase compared to what else they had. There's a difference between saying, "Oh, well, we're slowly increasing the prices. Oh, this military variant now that's going to be $400." All right, don't make it so expensive that you can get 2 separate ships fairly easily that are currently out that do those jobs. Don't make it so you can get a large Corvette almost for the same price.
That does bring up the interesting point, Liz. Why is the bomber twice the price of the normal version? I don't get that. I can't.
I get that. I get that.
Please explain.
And I'm happy.
Yep.
Because they made a affordable option at entry point, which is this C20. Is it 2? Yeah, C2. And that made people who still wanted this ship and wanted to use it as a daily driver, who wanted to be able to use it as a general ship and didn't care about the military, it gave them an entry point, and it's beautiful. And then with the more expensive, like essentially, which is going to be competing up with the Hammerhead in size, but a different function, is going to be, of course, it's going to be that price. And then they made a midpoint, which is sort of halfway between the two to satisfy people who want that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm very happy that they were good enough to give us that cheaper entry point. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I'm very happy they did that.
I feel like he's just walked up to the executioner and said, "Thanks for that. thanks for so understanding."
I'm serious.
Again, I understand there's a business, but again, there's player-based goodwill, and you have to gauge that. And if you look at the forums right now, they've pretty much exploded a little.
Oh
bit.
yeah. It'll get worse before it gets better because the sales don't even start, right?
Yeah,
it's pre-sale.
Keep coming back to the greed factor. Like, I'm just really surprised with the. I understand they're a business, and I understand, but like when people are donating money and you don't let them pick the product they want, when it's almost like a pre-order situation where
they
not allowing
changed
people
their
to cancel
signing.
pre-orders.
Have you read the new
I'll
thing
only
when you
let
buy
that
something?
statement stand if they don't give CCUs when they do the full sale. Because if you do have CCUs, whatever you already had, you can then change into this.
That's
and
right.
you can
So
still get your LTA.
You still
so
have
I disagree with that statement.
Yep.
Unless they don't stop providing CCUs.
That's totally fine. If they allow you to use CCUs and retain your LTI, I have no problem. But the day they do that, there's going to be an avalanche of problems. I still come back to the thing, like they kind of say LTI is not worth it, but why are they using it as a push, as an incentive?
Why do you think they haven't explained it yet? And that's pretty shady.
We've talked this to death.
I know we have.
Limited sale, availability,
maybe
strategy.
Maybe COG's out there and they're actually listening.
No, they don't watch this show. We're too niche for that.
Give them nightmares.
Yeah. I'm sure there's one of them out there, and they go, "Oh, how do they know?
They're watching."
Something like that. Anyway, this is a good time. I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're definitely going to be talking about the new Hercules variants in future when we get the full sale information. Because at the moment we're very limited. Yeah. And following Q&A, and I imagine that's going to be on sale all month, which I just love that.
I just want to add one little thing, and you guys can add this too. I still think it's a very pretty ship. I will add that. That's a positive, because I sounded very negative about this.
It's gorgeous.
What are you talking about?
But
pretty?
It's a very gorgeous looking ship.
This is no little pretty boy ship. This is like, ugh.
It makes me think Starship Troopers in a way too. When you look at it, it's
it's definitely a military dropship. It's very.
It reminds me of the Pelican from Halo. Do you know the? It doesn't look.
How about that?
It's got that same
big ship out of Star Fox. You know, they got this mothership. It looks like that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right then.
Anyway, this is Inforunners. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to ask us more detailed questions or talk to us, check out our Discord, which is down below in the comments.
We do read your comments, so please leave them. We're not as good as responding as we used to, but we do read them.
Some of us who are studying.
I definitely read everyone. And I don't reply to everyone, but I definitely read everyone. All right. This has been
Haze.
And I'm Execute, and this is...
The elusive Dasein was here.
You mean endangered species?
We'll catch you next time,
anyway,
guys.
Catch you around.
See ya.